Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. I hope you are having a lovely day. Here in the UK it is boiling, it's like 30 degrees C, which is delightful. And I've got a nice cold glass of rum and coke, so, you know, happy days. Now, first things first, the winner of last week's sales video giveaway is the top comment. Well, it's not the top comment, but their name's in the top comment, so GG to you. And also, I mentioned that we'll be giving away a couple of copies. Well, actually, we've got 6 copies of the new Animus Harbinger. Is it Animus Harbinger or is it Animus Revenant? I think it's Animus Revenant. It's actually a Nintendo Switch exclusive top-down Dark Souls clone, and they've given us 6 copies to give away. It didn't get much fanfare. I do want to do a review of it because it's actually pretty decent. But what you had to do was go over to the upcoming games video, and there's a question at the end of this video that if you can answer down in the comments, well, one, it's going to be like very odd for anyone just turning up to the channel. And two, I can give away 6 copies of the game, so happy days. There are some very good sales this week. I've tried to avoid the cliches, put a few hidden gems in there, the kids pick, etc, etc. And with that said, what's on sale? Well, let's find out. First up, we've got Streets of Rage 4. Now, that's 40% off. It's the lowest price it's ever been on sale. That's in the UK, the other regions will be shown down at the bottom of the screen, and it's received a really beautiful makeover, but it maintains that lovely core gameplay from the originals. This is, I think, Glen's favourite game on the Switch. I think that's probably fair to say. I'm sure he'll let you know in the comments himself, but it carries a 4GB download size and can be played with up to 4 players in local co-op. There's an incredible soundtrack here, and there's a lot of nuance to the gameplay that potentially isn't shown when you first see it. If you're familiar with the titles, you can button mash your way through them, but trust me, if you actually want to get through without losing lives and things, there's a lot of skill involved that unfortunately I don't really possess. But yeah, Glen does, annoyingly. Very good games, and well worth it at this ridiculously cheap price. That sale goes on until July the 28th. Now, The Outer Worlds is on sale at Amazon, actually, physically, at 55% off here in the UK. I believe it might be on sale on the eShop in the US as well, so you can always skip over to that region. But, I mean, its Metacritic is so low because it launched in a hideous condition. Like, it was it didn't look great at all, and it performed about as well as it looked. It's received loads of patches since launch, and the Paralon Gorgon DLC, which is what you'll see on the screen now, is a nice little expansion to the original game. Despite the way it looks, I actually completed it when it looked terrible, and I still had such a good time with it. It's so good. If you're a fan of the Fallout games, then you'll know how this plays. And there's so many different side missions and content to work your way through. It's just a classic. I really enjoy it. I think it's great, and I'm sure if you like the games I mentioned, then you will as well. This next one's finishing quite soon, and it's Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville, the complete edition. It's a great game, so much fun. It's actually been it's been our go-to multiplayer game recently. It's brilliant online, there's loads of content. You can play solo if you really want to, but you don't need to. There's motion controls here, there's touchscreen menus. It just really feels like they put in a load of time and effort with it, and the main bit of effort they put in was to port across the Frostbite engine to the Switch, and it actually runs really well. It's a 6.4GB download. You can play with up to 16 players online. Hopefully you'll have a good team. Sometimes you can get like grouped up with some awful players, but well, if you're good, you can try and carry them to glory, but it is very difficult if you get paired up with some terrible people. Plus that little stupid invisible mushroom guy is a pain in the arse to fight against. It's 36% off at the moment, but that's only for another 30 hours, so get in quickly. This one could act as our hidden gem, at least on Switch for the week, and that's Crying Suns. Now, this originally came out on Steam and is a brilliant game. It's a tactical roguelite that puts you in the role of a space fleet commander as you explore a mysteriously fallen empire. That's literally the blurb from the eShop. But the things that make it so special are that there's over 300 different story events. These are tactical fights between battleships and their squadron fleets. There's a lot of control in the hands of the player, but there's also a great amount of depth here. The universe itself is procedurally generated, but don't let that put you off. Everything's tied together with such a core storyline that it makes it really enjoyable. I guess a little bit like Everspace in that regard. That you never felt like you were getting lost in terms of the game because you were brought back in by those key story elements. It's only 531 megs. It's 20% off, which isn't a huge saving. It's the lowest it's ever been. But at 15 quid, there is more than enough gameplay here. Like, this is a beast of a game, and it's well worth picking up at that price. Next up, we've got my daughter's pick this week, and that's Terraria, or Terraria, depends how you want to say it. And it's 50% off. That's matching its lowest ever price, down to 12 quid or just over, or your regional equivalent if it's available in your region at that reduced price. While at first glance it might just look like Minecraft but 2D, like it's way more than that. There's over 300 different enemies, there's 20 boss fights, there's 20 different biomes, and they included 800 new items in this version. There's also up to 8-player online multiplayer, and as far as content goes, like if you're a fan of Minecraft, you will absolutely love this, because there's actually way more stuff, and there's hundreds of hours of gameplay here. My daughter says it's amazing. She actually prefers it to Minecraft now, which I gotta salute her for that, because younger kids kind of look at graphics, don't they, and go, well, Minecraft looks, and in air quotes, more modern, so that has to be the better game. But my daughter's like, no. It's not about that, Daddy. It's about gameplay. And I'm like, yeah, fair play to you. Fist bump. Go and play your games. See you later. So yeah, really good one. Goes on until July the 23rd. And just a tiny 392 meg download. From her pick to my pick then, we've got Borderlands, the Legendary Collection, or there's about 3 different versions, all at varying prices, but they're all on a big discount at the moment. I've seen a lot of people starting this for the first time recently, I guess it's probably due to these sales. Now, if you're in the UK, you can pick them up at 55% off through shop2.net, but if you're in the US, then you can get them on your eShop at a reduced price as well. And they're excellent first-person cooperative shooters with brilliant narration, ridiculous characters, a little robot called Claptrap who's a pain in the arse but very lovable, and just so much to do, so much loot. Like, I love loot in games. I don't know what it is. I'm a real loot hoover. Is anyone else a loot hoover? You just have to pick up everything. It's like egg cup. Yep, fork. Yeah, I'll have that. Knife. That's mine. Get to the end of the game, you just got this huge sack. Oh, for goodness sakes, you got this huge bag of of loot that you can't actually do anything with. I need to move on quick. It's 21 gigs to download. I've completely lost myself now. It's good, it's worth buying. Let's move on. We recently reviewed Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin on the Switch, but we thought it would be quite nice to include it in a sales video now. Obviously it's not on an eShop sale at the moment, but it is on a big sale on, I think it's Amazon in the US, and it's Shop2 or Argos in the UK. You can save yourself from 15 to 25%, which at this stage in the game is very good indeed. Now, there are a few performance issues on the Switch version. They're not major, like occasional stutter and drop frames and things like that. There are some patches coming out, we know that for sure, and it's still very enjoyable. I know lots of you in the comments will be saying how good this is, you've been having a great time with it, but it really does take that Pokemon aspect and merge it so well with the Monster Hunter series. We have a full review of this one on the channel. I'll make sure to pop a link to it in the top pin comment, and it's well worth it. If you're a physical collector, then make sure you go and check that out on its physical sales at the moment. Now, one of 2 hidden gems this week, we've got Pode. Well, actually, that's 3 hidden gems this week, isn't it? We've got a game called Pode, which is a 2-player local co-op game. It's lovely. Really enjoyed this when it came out. I don't think we got a chance to review it, and the price was a bit steep, in all honesty, at launch. It's 50% off at the moment, taking it down to 11 quid, which is on point. That's spot on for the price. And it's a co-op puzzle exploration game. It requires these 2 different characters to work in synchronicity to get the puzzles completed. It's not overly difficult, but it's got a really nice atmosphere to it. It's got this quite unique art style, but it's the soundtrack really from Austin Wintory, who you may have heard of before, and I think it's that really that carries the experience for me. Yeah, I like this one. It's 2.7 gigs, and if you're looking for a bit of local co-op action, then this could be the one for you. The real deal of the week, like an absolute steal, is Saturday Morning RPG. This has got more references crammed into it than I think any game I've played in recent memory. Glen reviewed this for us. It's published by Limited Run Games. I mean, you've got things like Marty McFly in there, the DeLorean, lots of 80s cliche, and it has a turn-based combat system. It's not the longest game. I think it will take you about 10 to 15 hours to complete, but I know he enjoyed it. Again, it was another one that was a little bit, not expensive per se, but just might be a little bit too high to put most people off. But at £1.43, that's 80% off. I mean, that is ridiculously cheap, isn't it? That's like 2 packs of fruit pastels, which also is upsetting. It shows me how old I am, because when I was a kid, they were like 30p. But yeah, it's worth it, I'd say. I'll stick a link to his review of it, so you can go and really hear all about it, because this is one, obviously, that he played through. But I know he enjoyed it, and at that price, I know he'd recommend it. It's Figment. It's 87% off. That's its lowest ever price. It's £2.33. My word, that's crazy. I do apologise if you can hear my kids screaming in the background. I set up a paddling pool and it sounds like some kind of murder's taking place. I sincerely hope that's not the case. But Figment is a lovely little adventure. You join Dusty and his optimistic friend Piper, and then the whole thing takes place in his mind. It describes itself as a whimsical, hand-drawn world, and I think that's an understatement. It looks absolutely delightful. It looks like a Miro painting or something. It's just, yeah, I really like this. Maybe a bit of Salvador Dali thrown in for good measure. Look at it. Every scene kind of really pops out. There's a lot of contrast. I'll pop a link to that review so that you can go check that out if you want to, but I mean, for this kind of crazy cheap price, it goes on until August the 4th and carries a 1.7 gigabyte download. So that is it this week for the games you should buy. We're going to talk about 2 you should avoid, and then I will give you the question for the quiz for the free giveaway. My first avoid then, unfortunately, has to go to Siberia 3. Now, I'm a big fan of the genre, but I guarantee you lots of people are going to be recommending this because it's its lowest ever price, and it looks nice from the images. It doesn't play well. It might look okay, but it does not play well at all. It's a real shame because I love Siberia 1 and 2, but this is clunky, it's slow, the writing doesn't feel nearly as good as the others, and just as far as an adventure that's based around story, it's not that great. I'd recommend going out and getting the original Siberia 1 and 2. They're currently like 80 and 93% off, respectively, taking them down to like a couple of quid. So yeah, don't get Siberia 3. And another one, it's currently at its lowest ever price, so it has to get another mention, and it's Summer in Mara. It's just awful. Terrible game. It really is. It looks amazing. I was so excited about it, but the farming's poor. There's no real exploration here, and the mission structure is just appalling. It's actually quite insulting. It's like, hey, go and get the carrot, and then you come back with the carrot, and it's like, oh, not that carrot, the other one. So you go back, and it just carries on like that for the entirety of the game, which is actually quite long. It's like 20 or 30 hours of that same thing, and when you can't really build up your farm in any real meaningful way, it's just a shame. Yeah, they could have done a lot with this. I was so excited for it. So personally, I'd say avoid it, but you know, check out some reviews and see what you think. All right, that's it for this week. This is quite a long video, isn't it? Man, 17 minutes 30 I've been speaking for. That's crazy. Better trim that down a touch. All right, the free game this week is the Animus Revenant, and to win it, you simply need to tell me what was it in the upcoming games video that basically made me pee myself laughing. I didn't literally, just for the record, but what was it? What was the line? You have to try and make finish that line. You have to try and make their what fall off. Just write that full thing out so that in the comments we've just got everyone saying that line and everyone will be confused. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I can't believe I just said that. It really winds me up when people say that. Do what you want to do. Thanks so much for watching. A big thanks to our patrons who support us each and every month. You guys are amazing. I will definitely make sure I dish out those free games to you guys tonight in the direct comments, as I said I would a couple of days ago. And yeah, have a lovely couple of days and a nice start to the week. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!